Welcome to the GRACE-1 Critical Risk Application demonstration, and I want to take you through access, an overview of the system, how to search for scenarios, and how to add and amend scenarios. Lastly but not least, I will take you through the administration menu and give you a complete guide of how to set up and manage sites and configurability within the application. Firstly, in terms of accessing the application, you should go to the GRACE-1 website, that's www.agrace1.com, and under the Critical Risk Application, hit the Login screen. You will be then taken to a secure web interface where you will need to enter your own username and password. The system is set up to house different access rights and participants based on company ID and partitioned in the web application. Once successfully logging on, you will be brought to the default home screen on the application, which will also show you how to enter a scenario for consideration. Walking through the icons at the top, the first one next to the swan is the home icon, which will take you back to this page, as will the new scenario take you to this page. The next icon you can see is to search for an existing scenario in the system, which I shall show you shortly. The next button is for facilitators and administrators who have access to add and amend scenarios in the system. This will allow them to save changes to those scenarios or new ones entered. The next box you can see gives you unique ID for that particular scenario that has been entered into the system, followed by the reporting tool, which will also be shown to you later in this demonstration. This icon here allows you to access the guidance documents associated with facilitation and this guidance document and video for use of the application. For administrators of the application, you'll also have a menu which opens up a series of configurable components within the application, allowing you to set certain parameters based on your company needs. And finally, this icon at the end will allow you to securely log out of the application once your work has been completed. Firstly, I'm going to show you the search functionality in the application, allowing you to find existing scenarios that are hosted within the application. You will firstly want to select the site that you are wishing to look for, or what kind of scenario you are of interest, whether it be cost or a fatality scenario based on health and safety impact. I'm going to use the site location as the first search parameter, and I'll hit my magnifying glass to bring up a menu which then will allow me to search by hitting the second magnifying glass within that search functionality and provide me a table of scenarios logged within the system with their unique identification number, the years between fatality or cost impact per year, the unique revision number, when it was modified and by whom. Using this interface, I'm going to pull up an existing scenario and talk about the functionality within the system. When selecting the scenario of concern, I'm going to be given this default view, which is a compressed bow tie diagram with the initiating event description posted in the center and the number of initiating events we're expecting to see on an annualized basis. To pan the screen, I simply hold down on the left mouse button and hold and pan, and that will allow me to look at all facets of the bow tie diagram. Again, when initially opening, the bow tie diagram will be compressed, so only part of the causal pathways will be observed. Just walking through the boxes, the first box you will see is the description of the scenario of concern, which is a high-level view of the risk scenario that is being evaluated. The second box you will see is the triggering or initiating event, which should be a quantifiable description that allows the workshop participants to estimate the number of times in a given year that particular event would occur. That number is represented and documented in this box here, followed by the average impact or average number of fatalities per fatal scenario. This is to capture any scenarios which have a credible multiple fatality impact. The boxes to the right-hand side of the initiating event are all of the unique steps to fatality. In the first section that is described up here is capturing what that step is in terms of taking it forward along this mechanism and pathway to catastrophic loss, in this case fatality. Each step has a numerical probability associated with it, and each of these numerical probabilities combined with the estimated number of events per year and average impact allows the system to calculate the estimated number of years between fatality. All mitigating controls should be captured within each step box underneath the mitigating controls sign, which will allow you to catalog key areas that help influence and reduce damage once we have lost control. To the left-hand side of the bow tie we have the mechanisms of causal pathways, and these will expand out and give symptoms and descriptions around possible causal mechanisms to this initiating event. Each of these causal pathways is expandable, and following the causal pathways are all associated controls that are designed to influence that symptom or pathway. As this is fully expanded out, I'll talk about some more of the features associated with the dominant scores you can see within these causal pathways. Dominance has been designed to give an idea and understanding of which of these particular causal pathways is deemed to be most credible and most likely in influencing or creating this initiating event. It aids to be a dilution factor in control criticality that you can also see in this box here, associated with each particular control. Criticality is a function of the importance of the control and the causal pathway dominance. Pathways which are 100% dominant in both the mechanism and individual symptom have no dilution factor for that control. The thresholds for each control criticality score are set by administrators in the administrator menu. Control criticality can be overridden by facilitators and select any of the other parameters decided by the facilitator, or default to the auto selection, which the automatic tool will do for you. Regarding importance, as subsequent controls are added to each causal pathway, the control importance value is a reference of this forced ranking, which can be moved using the arrow shown on the left-hand side. As I type most important control and use the arrow feature to toggle the control importance up, you will see how the control shifts its place and is forced ranked to be number 1 in terms of the importance scale. This did not influence criticality at this stage, but as I add subsequent controls and the dilution factor is greater, you will see that the control criticality has been reduced. This is based on a dilution factor and the importance of the control. Dependability is a totally separate score which understands the reliability and robustness of each control evaluated, and there is a table to reference in the facilitator guide that will help you understand dependability. Each control can be deleted at any stage within the process. To be able to extract this information and add it to another format, a picture can be taken of the application, which will select any area that is visible on the canvas. By hitting the camera icon, I will open a new web browser, which will allow me to save that document as a JPEG image or other format as desired by the facilitator. Also within this window you will see the action list, which is a light bulb In this case, there are no actions associated with the scenario. However, actions can be added by simply hitting the plus icon linked with the specific action list and information added. Other scores around practicality and control effectiveness based on the hierarchy of controls and status can be included within that action. Reports can also be formed and extracted from the system. By using this icon and the Reports button, I can open up a critical control report, which is the preferred method for understanding critical controls. Within this screen, I can select the sites of concern, and I can also select the control criticality score, either all or just 1 or 2. I can also select dependability scores associated with each control and hit the View tab to allow me to generate that report. The report structures all scenarios based on the fatal risk or cost per year. It defines the pathway associated with the control and lists all controls linked within that pathway. This report was only pulling critical controls, hence why only critical controls are shown. However, it is possible to show all controls within the same report format, which will give you an entire listing of the controls in the system associated with the sites on view. This report and all reports can be extracted to a preferred format such as Excel by using the Extract button here. For facilitators of the application, there is a separate administrative menu which will allow you to configure components within the application. By hitting this button, I can also see who is allowed to access the application, who has facilitator rights to add or amend scenarios, and who has administrator rights to add, amend, and configure components within the application itself. All aspects of these menus are configurable, however only certain ones are recommended, those being criticality, which allows you to set the thresholds for control criticality, and the sites that you wish to have associated with your partitioned database. All other aspects have been built with translation function available, however not all translations have been made. Administrators can provide translations for the various languages shown here. Once completing the changes, the facilitator must save the changes in the system. To add a new scenario, before it can be saved, certain fields need to be complete. All fields with a red exclamation mark do need to be completed before a scenario can be saved. When looking at cost-based scenarios, the system will work in entirely the same way with the exception of the average distribution per catastrophic event. This numerical calculation will also look at the average cost and provide a summation based on the distribution provided. The system will then calculate cost per year as opposed to fatalities per year and inverse them against years between fatality. That concludes the web application demonstration. For more information on facilitation, I advise you to select the facilitation guide also linked underneath the guidance documents.